see most of the very interesting one is going to be Chaos Knight, and that is just because Serenity are really good on the hero. This is one of those region sort of things.
6 games, 100% win rate on it. Not that bad at all, but it's kind of crazy that they take it that early. And then PYW, we were talking about it earlier, his Tiny single-handedly won them games at TI. You got to take it out of the pool. And then Earthshaker's the most picked hero for paiN. So far, both teams getting what they wanted. That's what you mentioned, Cap, that even though they are from different regions, they'll be able to prioritize those heroes differently.
And there's my friend Ogre Magi.
You just look at him and you see a brother, right?
Yeah,
without the second head.
Well, it's coming along. No, it's what I want to talk about. I mean, is this going to be a pure support Ogre Magi? Because we were talking about this backstage earlier about the sort of rise of core Ogre Magi, and I don't like it. But
if there's a team that would do it, I feel like it probably would be Serenity.
Yeah.
But they like to get a little bit funky, and PYW was that support player leading up to this. So I could see it, but I kind of like it more in the support role as opposed to the off lane right now, particularly Mirana.
So this is something that came up with it was either Zai or Smash, I think, playing it in pubs like offlane core Ogre. And it actually worked out pretty well. Optic started playing it with a combination with 33, Ninjas of Pajamas. And this is they could be a combination for the laning phase as well. This Mirana Ogre. It could be a core Ogre. It could be a core Mirana. In that off lane, you've got a nice little duo there. But either way, what it does most for you is a really solid laning phase and just puts pressure on carries like none other, because you just can't really return fire. The Ogre is big and tanky. He does a decent amount of damage in the laning phase and only scales upwards, especially now. We're no longer going for the Ignite build. We're going for Fire Blast, and we're going to get that multicast. So we have a better power spike as we hit level 6 and 7, whereas in the previous, when you're maxing out Ignite and you hit a multicast on Ignite, who cares?
Yeah.
It doesn't do it. Like, you're just spreading more Ignite. That doesn't really change anything. But you max out Fire Blast, you get a multicast. That can actually turn, just a little bit of harassment into an actual kill attempt.
And I'm actually worried about this draft already from paiN, because they take Earthshaker. That's a hero that they're very comfortable on, but it's naturally known for not being one of the strongest in lanes. You need to be able to keep somebody up also there. And now PL taken, who in some ways can be strong, but one of the main ways that you're strong as PL is running forward with the Phantom Rush and then trading right clicks. So he's like, able to get in there and be a bruiser. You're not bruising Ogre Magi out of anything.
Well, I was just going to say as well, no, I'm going to probably just make everyone hate me by theory crafting a little bit here. But obviously with the Ogre Magi, like we were just talking about with that power spike with his stun, and obviously the Mirana arrows as well. I mean, you can lock up a Phantom Lance before it can do anything, right? I mean,
potentially, yeah. The illusions are definitely going to be really difficult to deal with in order to get that arrow in. You also have the fact that, again, you're probably maxing Fire Blast, but the Ignite, you can get rid of that with the Doppelganger. So I think this is still going to be a relatively solid pickup for paiN, because it feels like you already know what the aggression is coming in the laning phase. You already know what's going to be trying to shut you down, and I think PL will be able to deal with that okay. And I do think, yes, Earthshaker is not the best lane protecting hero, so maybe they're going to get a different support to be able to help out the PL. But I do think that just being able to make sure you have really solid initiation and team fight that creates this natural amount of chaos, allows the Phantom Lancer to get on top of these squisher heroes. Maybe it's a support, maybe it's the Mirana herself, and just get that time, 1-2 seconds, to lay damage in with himself and his illusions. That's enough to be able to win you a team fight.
I don't know. I'm still pretty concerned about it. I hear what you're saying there, but every time I see this Ogre in a lane against these cores, it's just like, you know that the aggression is coming, but do you really have those tools? And maybe I'm thinking all right, maybe they take something like a Warlock or something for paiN, so that way they can try and protect the PL a little bit more. But even that, this could be a Mirana mid, and then they take something else in that other off lane to go with the Ogre also. So at least for my money, I'd like to see Team Serenity get aggressive here and see if they can punish this early on. And this is a great hero to do it with as well.
Yeah, you've got a good amount of AoE damage coming out. You are a little bit scared of the Phantom Lancer and his attack speed. Again, Doppelganger, just being able to get on top of the egg, really fast attack speed. But you did need more team fight, because Earthshaker represents a good amount of team fight potential. You already had sort of this, with this Ogre pickup, a laning phase dominator. So I'm going to say this is probably a 5-position Ogre now that we see the Phoenix pickup. Phoenix is probably going to be support, and then it's Mirana core. That's what I'm guessing so far. And it just means you always want to have that balance. Every single draft right now is having a little bit of everything, right? Having that balance of make sure you have some team fights so you can take those 5v5s, but make sure you don't lose lanes. And you're going to see that support balance all the time, where you're going to have one support that gives you a strong laning phase, and you're going to have one support that makes sure you win team fights.
And this is a great answer also. We talked about needing to deal with that aggression, and paiN is a great hero for it because he can be up there standing, not necessarily toe-to-toe against the Ogre, but at least holds his ground a little bit, and that's what you need. So as far as what I'm seeing now out of paiN X, it feels like just hold back the tide, let the PL eventually win the game for us. I think that Team Serenity can still get aggressive, but now they're going to need something to take towers, something that can sort of siege down buildings pretty quickly.
I'm a little bit surprised it wasn't Wyvern, just because of the fact that Wyvern would give you sort of a bit of laning phase, and it's traditionally been picked up against Phoenix in some of these heroes. But now the Leshrac, that is a lot of AoE damage, and that is a classic counter to Phantom Lancer.
Yeah. Yeah, take out all those illusions, right?
Yeah. Now, it does kind of go both ways in the fact that Phantom Lancer, of course, is going to build a Diffusal Blade, so you are probably losing the game if you have the Leshrac lineup and the PL has a Heart. Heart is like one of those classic, really key timings for Phantom Lancer every single time. But in this matchup, especially because the Leshrac just has this limited amount of magic damage he's putting out in this AoE, if you get really tanky PL, you can't seem to find the right one because you're just not clearing the illusions fast enough. Lina was a combination with the paiN that immediately jumped to my mind because this hero seems really value against the Phoenix. Super fast attack speed. If you can't get Mirana, get Lina. It also gives you a good amount of burst versus the Mirana as well as the Leshrac. You want to be able to take these heroes out of the fight instantly. And it's been experimented with as both a 3 and 4 position outside of the typical mid matchup. So I would say almost 100% going to be mid here because he already knows it's going to be Leshrac mid. So they're just going to be spamming back and forth. And we're going to leave our carries for last pick.
You don't think that this could be a Leshrac in the safe lane or somewhere else? Because to me,
it's possible, yeah.
I feel like their draft is still so, like, it can be mixed up however they want to try and find those lanes.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe it could even be like Leshrac offlane with the Ogre and try and run at the PL potentially. I don't know. I like that they've left this draft this far open, and maybe now taking another support and allowing that to sort of be able to be a roaming hero that can move around the map and find some kills. That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah, I think both teams still have that versatility in that regard, right? It could be Lina mid-matched up against both Leshrac and Mirana, or maybe a third mystery hero, but it also can be Lina put into the offlane if they want to be able to get themselves a better mid-hero.
Right, I forgot that was a thing now.
Yeah, exactly. You can do side lane Lina. So I think that both teams we're now just waiting for one team to blink, and of course it's going to be paiN X taking the second to last pickup. So they've got something to deal with the egg. They have some okay team fight. They've got this harder scaling carry. Like even if say like Terrorblade or something is picked up by Team Serenity, I think they're still okay with the late game. I don't think they're too afraid of that. What else do they really need? They've got initiation out from the Earthshaker, but a little bit more like just in general low cooldown and fast playmaking hero wouldn't be a bad idea.
It doesn't feel like there's any pressure on them right now. There's nothing in the draft that you need to answer from Serenity.
There is the threat of just like this really early game and pushing power that comes out whenever you have a Leshrac core and just superior team fight, is that you just keep running at towers and saying, fight me, fight into the egg, see what happens. So in that regard, it's either more dominant laning phase or to be able to pick up like just stronger. Again, like initiation is never a bad idea when it comes to the team fight aspect. If you can jump this Leshrac and, you know, maybe blow him up before Supernova or something. Oh.
And then Earthshaker up to core.
Okay, so a really big front liner.
Oh, jeez.
The Abyssal Underlord. I only like this hero against Draw Ranger lineups.
Oh,
so
Lelis loves this hero too, so he's saying, yeah, don't worry, Bulba, it's gonna be fine. Take it.
Okay.
That he was one of the only people that consistently ran it all last year, and it is very, very strong. It's going to mean that those towers cannot get taken easily, and all of the pressure that Team Serenity might want to bring that Cap was alluding to earlier just gets stopped in its track, because if Underlord's in your lane, you can't push it down. Firestorm is too difficult to deal with. And
you don't really want to go Drow lineup. You don't really want to go Terrorblade lineup either. Like Abyssal Underlord is really good versus both those heroes. this is not a bad lineup for. I mean, the synergy with your team is really good for a Faceless Void for Serenity, but you don't necessarily like that single target aspect of the hero versus PL. But you've got just a lot of AoE damage to throw into the Chronosphere. You don't like playing against Underlord either, though.
You could go maybe something like Weaver, possibly, or the other option is just take one of those supports that helps enable you early. Silencer, maybe, to be that counter breaker for the Earthshaker.
So you're still on the core Ogre train?
No, it would have been like a core Phoenix then at that point. Instead.
Oh, okay, I see. I am much more on like a carry last pick here for Serenity.
It does feel like they certainly have places to go to, though. I mean, it's a sort of they can be versatile, right?
Oh,
you know,
did you see that one coming?
They needed some sort of late game carry, and most of the other ones we listed weren't great. See, the problem is they're put in a position where if they drafted like a very strong laner versus Underlord, say they get the Ursa, right? You already have this Leshrac, Mirana. You already have these heroes that fulfill those mid-game roles. You needed something that was going to win you the game. But all the heroes that we listed would win you the game. Draw Ranger lineup. Just end the game fast. You've got these two ranged heroes. They take advantage of win lanes, end game, right? Don't want to play against Underlord. Terrorblade, don't want to play against Underlord. So now you're left with Spectre. I'm not super happy with it, but I do think it was kind of the place they needed to go. They needed a hero that would basically play that hard carry for them. Got some Radiance damage. I feel better about paiN, actually. I didn't expect that with the Underlord pickup. The more I thought about the heroes that had to be picked up by Serenity, it seemed pretty good. It seemed fit.
What's your thought about the who won the draft then?
I'm a huge Spectre fanboy. I think that hero is still strong, even though it's got a ton of different nerfs. You're talking about those problems that existed earlier. I still think that hero is incredibly strong. And this is all slow damage over time things. You talk about PL in the late game. He's somebody that's going to whittle you down. And Spectre obviously does need mana, but you can also just kind of stand there and not do anything and take your hands off the keyboard, and Dispersion will be able to do the rest. Yeah. So with that combined with the Leshrac, I think they have the tools they need to win the game.
It's all a question about whether or not the Spectre can get the farm you need. You're feeling the pressure of Underlord. You have this Desolate nerf that already is going to kill a lot of your farming time. It was a lot more sped up before when you could use this Desolate to be able to farm these creeps better. Now with the range increase, it is hard. So I'm just not convinced by the Spectre getting the farm.
All right, well, guys, thanks for your thoughts. I learned a lot there. It's actually been very educational listening to you. But not Cap, you may not.
Don't worry,
All right, we are ready to get into the game. And, of course, that means I've got to hand you over to Moxie and Breaky CPK. Take it away, guys.
Here we go. As you can see, once again, paiN X versus Team Serenity going at it. Of course, paiN X coming into this with an 0-1 record. They just coming off their loss to Alliance. So they need to win this. I'm just going to put it that way. This is a best of one. You only play 3 games here in the group stages. You go 0-2, very, very little chance you're moving on.
Absolutely. I'm really excited to watch these teams play. I love the idea. You know, we do have that kind of regional Dota coming out. We've got the Chinese Dota coming out from Serenity. And, of course, we've got NA/SA Dota. Mostly NA, though, right now, right? Because we got Boba on the squad.
It's an NA team at this event, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, it is. But I'm loving these drafts, though, right? I'm looking at this. We got a big ol' beefy Underlord here showing up. We've got CCNC on his classic Lina, too.
You think the early game is going to progress well for paiN X? It sounded like you were getting at.
I mean, it's definitely one of those things. It's all going to come down to laning, right? You want to make sure that you have a really good start over on paiN X. The Spectre, you know, it has seen a lot of nerfs lately. I was a little concerned about that because you're bridging a lot of attention to make sure that she can get what she needs and that she's going to be able to match up well against the Underlord. So I don't know.
We are waiting on a pause here, by the way. We're beautiful people, we understand, but we're not showing you the game because it isn't a pause. Don't worry, you're not missing anything just yet here.
No. I mean, you're missing out on the hats, though, right? That is one thing. We do get some good couriers over here, too. That always drives me crazy, Breaky. I always hate when I see these professional teams and they're using that standard donkey courier.
Very basic one. No, that's a no-go.
Come on, guys.
I like the Leshrac matchup against Phantom Lancer, though. It is going to be a mid Leshrac, as according to the player that is playing it here on the side of Team Serenity, which is ZYD. So that's, of course, an advantage in some ways. And no matter how farmed PL will get, he'll still have to deal with a decently farmed Leshrac throughout the game. So that, for me, is why, and then the Spectre late game, yes, some nerfs, is still a very, very strong hero, especially when it comes to that late game. I am curious to see if he decides to go that Blade Mill. Blade Mill, another item that, of course, took some nerfs as well more recently. So, and Spectre, no one as a hero that potentially could see that. So it's yet another thing to look out for.
You know, the other thing, too, is you got to keep an eye on my boy Flea over here. He got his Earthshaker.
Yeah. All right.
He got his Earthshaker, and this is one of those heroes. Like, Flea is so good at playmaking.
Yeah.
Like, with these particular, like, you know, we saw him on the Naga Siren, like, in the past year, like, just absolutely crushing it. He was able to not only get what he needed, but also to, you know, show up to these fights and have a huge impact. So, you know, I've been watching him. He just actually recently played this through the ESL Hamburg, and he just was very, very patient. Wasn't always able to, you know, turn the tide for his team, but we can rest assured, Brady, we got to see some great Echo Slams coming out of him.
That's the idea, at least, for paiN and their success. We have resumed into our game of paiN versus Serenity. Again, paiN 0-1, losing to Alliance on the B stream. That was taking place, so we didn't get the chance to watch it ourselves, but I quickly kind of glanced back, and it seemed like Alliance definitely got the better of paiN in that one by, you know, fairly decisively, we'll put it that way. But, of course, the second chance here, matched up against Serenity, which is obviously a team with an interesting history themselves, somewhat newer, came in late into the scene really last year and had that explosion, of course, qualifying for TI and even doing so at the event itself. But I've never really been sold on this team. I feel like they kind of got caught up in that hype. Of course, qualifying for TI is a big deal, but those kind of qualifiers, as we know, anything can happen, it feels like, especially over there. So I guess my point is I'm still waiting to be, you know, really proven by this team.
All right.
Not that means much. I mean, who cares what I think?
That's fair enough, you know. Definitely, Serenity was like that dark horse that came through. I know there were a couple people that were very excited. We had some players on there that we hadn't seen in a while, and you know, they did a great job going through those qualifiers. But you know, it's new time. We've got new people on different teams right now. You never know what's going to happen, and a lot of it too. You look at this draft; it's going to be very difficult for the Spookster to get a lot of what she needs in this lane. You're up against a big old thick boy here, that Underlord, going to cause some problems for her. And you know that they're just going to put a lot of pressure. That a lot of it's going to come down to this. But that mid lane too, between ZYD and of course CCNC, going to be kind of interesting. What do you think about that matchup there?
The mid lane matchup there, Leshrac versus the Lina.
Yeah.
I mean, I would assume Lina's potentially going to have the better time overall. The Lightning Storm is going to be leveled up by Leshrac at the same time. We'll be using that for last hitting, for harassment. But CCNC, in terms of a player himself, obviously very comfortable. At the same time, you know, not to downright, of course, on the other side, ZYD playing that Leshrac. So I would lean towards Alina maybe having the better time, but it could definitely play out, you know, fairly even in the end as well. So we'll see, though, how that works out. But again, I go back to Leshrac. No matter, even if he gets maybe a little bit slower of a start, as long as he's getting those levels, we'll still continue to be powerful against a hero like Phantom Lancer on the other side. And that's one of the main reasons why they decided to run this core Leshrac once again. So, unpause finally. The settings have been made.
Perfect.
In these LAN environments, sometimes it can be a little tricky making sure you have the right settings and everything swapping in and out. But
it's very important that you have those set up properly.
yeah.
So I like this. Lelis is making his way over here to this mid lane, hoping to maybe get himself a courier snipe. And you do see our little courier over here hanging out over by the tower, thinking so. We'll see if they can try to secure this mid lane here for CCNC as they just go to town here, getting that CS.
Yeah, you see on the mini-map, though, he's going to decide to port to the top lane. That courier wasn't moving that whole time. paiN wasn't showing. Again, these guys are very experienced. They understand paiN's not showing on the map yet. There's a good chance maybe he's looking to snipe that courier. And now the courier is being sent out, as you can see, again, on the mini-map. So we'll get that. But taking a look at all three lanes, again, Fulba playing the Underlord, the final pick Fulba's hero. I also find that a little interesting. Not that that's, you know, a wrong decision by any means, but saving that final pick for the off-lane hero in the hands of your stand-in player, a little curious to me. But again, definitely pressure on his shoulders in a lot of ways. You know, we'll need to make sure to try to prevent as much farm as he can against the Spectre. Now, right now in a 1 versus 2, as you see there, Flea is currently doing the creep pull.
Yep, just going to lead those creeps off to Salvation over here on the side, make sure that they can kind of figure out this lane equilibrium a little bit more. But no, I mean, this Atrophy aura coming off from the Underlord is making things pretty difficult here for the Spectre to get what they need. And it's, you know, it's not the craziest amount of harass, but, you know, this is also another hero that can withstand, you know, the Ogre constantly. You know, we do have that Ignite picked up. We talked about how the Fire Blast has become more popular, obviously, with the changes to multicast. But, you know, it's a good, solid spell just to get that harass off.
I wouldn't be surprised either if Bulba just rushes towards a Hood of Defiance here and even goes a straight pipe in this game, too. It's going to be great value against that core Leshrac. You mentioned like the Ogre harassment earlier on, Phoenix. There's a lot of reasons why that pipe could be very valuable in this game. Hell, a Spectre Radiance on top of that.
I'm wondering too, with this pickup of the Underlord, if we're going to be seeing, you know, just a very active sort of Underlord coming out where they take a tower and they just immediately go to another lane and take another one after a good team fight. If we're going to see it be very active, we're going to see it move more like a ambulance, you know, where you know people are pretty injured. We got to get in the van, get in the Uber, guys. We're getting out of here. Oh, but Flea throws out that fissure here. Looks like Ogre going to have to waddle his way away.
Yeah, he's an Ogre Magi after all, so not really the most fear of death in that situation, but as you mentioned, he's going to have to walk all the way around, so trying to take advantage of that, maybe harass a little bit more in the Spectre. Top lane, Phoenix also taking some good pressure there, as you see, but is able to fall back before too dangerous. We're now approaching the 3-minute mark in this game. Still no first blood just yet, but you can definitely feel it's coming. I would predict probably at the bottom lane, potentially. Maybe if Ogre gets a little bit too cozy, as tanky as he is, could get trapped in a fissure on top of a Firestorm. Definitely some good damage to come from there. But overall, you know, maybe some fairly passive lanes. With that said, you know, you look at all three and not necessarily surprised, I guess, that we don't have a kill yet.
I mean, bottom lane's looking a little scary right now for Flea. He's going to try to move himself away here, and it looks like he might actually get taken down here by the Spectre. There's still hot in pursuit. This Ogre sitting very, very low. Flea trying to run himself out. They just need a little bit. Who's going to be the first one break? It's going to be Ogre. It's going to be Flea. It's going to be Ogre, and somehow Flea's going to manage to get himself out of there.
The tango from Earthshaker kept him alive. Just enough region to stay alive, and as we saw, the Ogre goes down in response. So first blood, sure enough, the way of paiN, and they will gladly take that. So I suppose you're right in a sense, that bottom lane definitely where the action ends up being. You see top lane a little bit there. But again, middle lane, yeah, you look at it, 23-6 right now for Lina. You're looking at 16-0 Leshrac on the other side. So like I said, it just felt like Lina was definitely going to have that bullying opportunity against the Leshrac, especially in the earlier levels. Now as the levels start adding up, that lightning sword now level 2, I expect it to be level 3 next, level 5 here. Now potentially could do a little bit more, but CCNC, not surprising to me at least, is winning that middle lane.
You also have to keep in mind too, it's almost like a comfort hero for CCNC. He's played it quite a bit. I've watched like way back in the day when I first started doing some casting actually at the semi-pro level. Just watching him play that hero, he's got a very good understanding of it. But checking in with this top lane, Phoenix sitting a little bit low here, but throwing out those flame spirits though. Fire spirits being able to slow down just a little bit, be annoying.
That's the life of Phoenix. Hurts himself in the process somewhat, but at the same time, it's worth it, of course, for the value.
Gotta land him though, right?
Yeah, exactly. Gotta land him. He needs to make sure, you know, not to go too ambitious. Has that Icarus dive, but sitting a little bit lower on life. You see right there, charge at Mirana for the Phantom Rush. And keeping the pressure up. But back to the bottom lane, how's Spectre farming? He's 18-3 right now. It looks like Ogre is attempting a pull off to the side, which is quickly going to be thwarted off by Bulba. As he throws out the Firestorm, he's going to take all the farm for himself. That Firestorm ability, man, we don't see this hero much, but I personally like to play Underlord, and you know, it's almost surprising we don't, you know, from a perspective of that, where it's so good for farming with, and pushing out lanes and everything else. Top lane, a little bit of back and forth. The arrow is going to miss though. paiN will be fine, and just says hello to Phantom Lancer in the meantime. But my point is, going back to it, Spectre's not doing that great at the bottom lane, so mission accomplished for Bulba.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you look at the CS right now, Bulba's actually ahead in terms of CS, slowing them down quite a bit. Again, that atrophy aura, like 35 right now, really kind of messing with her. Does have to be careful though, is he getting some pincered movement coming through? But we do have some action here in the mid lane. Flea, he's feeling real frisky here, throws down that fissure, and comes CCNC. He's looking for the Light Striker race, trying to figure out exactly where to place, and there's the Laguna. See you later, Disco Goat.
In your face, Laguna Blade, man. But yeah, definitely needed to make sure to get the kill. That was a well played by Leshrac, trying to avoid the LSA, but CCNC, in response, well played on his part too, you know, kept doing the juking, and eventually it landed the LSA in the eventual kill, so. Yeah, very good rotation from Flea. As I believe it was Lyrical even pointing out on the desk there, when the draft was happening with that Earthshaker. That's the thing with Earthshaker. He's not necessarily a lane support that is going to be the greatest, but yeah, top lane. Phoenix is dead. Sure enough, Lelis enough damage to finish the job right there, so that's that little bit of overextension we talked about kind of coming into play. But yeah, going back to Earthshaker, they need him to rotate earlier on, and so Flea doing a good job there. Middle lane, CCNC gets run down. That Disco Pony, as you said. Leshrac.
Yeah, but where's UIG's taunt? Come on, man.
Yeah, not dancing a lot.
That's half the fun of playing that hero right there, is the Disco taunt.
Put CCNC on tilt a little bit more after that. It's a good strategy. No, but nice return kill at least. The Leshrac coming out.
For sure, for sure. Looks like they're thinking about going for that shrine together here. Now, according to your logic, right? The team that shrines together wins together.
Exactly. So Serenity, looking good. Good start for them. Maybe not so much. I mean, the CS, it's not as overwhelming when you kind of look at it a little bit more, but Lina, of course, leading the way right now. And you take a look at the net worth. It is Underlord and Lina on top. Speaking of Underlord, bottom lane, Fire Blast slowing down. Here comes that Leshrac, and Split Earth connects to easily secure that kill between Ignite, Lightning Storm. I mean, there's a lot of slows on this Radiant side.
Yeah, he's got to be careful that he really keeps an eye on the vision off to his side, just because, you know, these rotations, it's very hard to get away. Oh, nice vision coming out from Flay, though. But we'll just poke a little and giggle as he walks away.
Lina, level 8, just has the phase boots earlier on. Of course, going to be interesting to see how she decides to build this time around. The Yule's usually a pretty good option, if anything, for the setup for the LSA.
It looks like they've got their eyes here over on the Phoenix, huh? They're going to try to go for that fissure. It swoops away. Not today. See you later.
Pretty good ability for getting away from said fissure stun right there. If it lands, you know, maybe the LSA comes in time, but it was an ambitious decision. Didn't really cost them much, though. Again, Flea just was camping that middle lane. Speaking of that, CCNC could be in trouble now. He wanted that tower kill. He got it, but at what cost for him? LSA lands. He has an Arcane Rune along the way, bottles it up, and he's fine.
Oh, that's nice, right? You're forced to flee, but at the same time, you go and you find yourself that Arcane Rune, you can bottle through it, just go right back to business here.
Leshrac will do what he can to clean up that farm in the middle lane, working on a Yules himself, which obviously, again, a good item for him too, but is playing from behind right now, and that net worth shows that. The top 3 farmers all belonging on the Dire side. That is paiN. So it's safe to say their tempo's looking good. This goes back to the Underlord that you were talking about earlier, Moxie. You know, are we going to see some aggressive Dark Rift plays, perhaps, as a result? How the game's looking?
I'd like to see. I mean, the nice thing too is, right. So you've got this Underlord, and he's got Pit of Malice eventually that he's going to get taken up, and you've also got CCNC. He's going to be able to land the Light Striker, right? You've got a lot of good follow up with like lockdown stuns and the whole shebang, right? So it's going to make it really easy to make space for this Phantom Lancer. So Ritsu, you know, he's sitting at third top net worth here. He's actually making a rotation to join the rest of his team. Going to go down to this bottom tower, place some more pressure on the Spectre, because if the Spectre gets too much breathing room, it is going to end up being an issue. But already seeing her TP out, they're just going to push this tower. Easy peasy.
Lemon squeezing. Here comes that bottom push, leading the way. As you mentioned, Ritzy already TPing in, and he's there as well. The power tread's just around the corner for him, so that's a nice build-up. I'm sure the Fusel Blade potentially next in line. But yeah, going back to the Spectre again, just finishing in the Ring of Acula, also has the power treads come in. I'm going to keep an eye on that Q and whether or not he decides to try to get that Radiance queued up next. But for the time being, objectives being pushed by either side. Bottom being pushed by the Dire, top from the Radiant and Serenity. Probably just going to be a tower trade here.
Classic mirroring coming out. I do feel like the tower here in the bottom lane is just a little bit more valuable, because this jungle is just got so many holes to it where you can sneak people through when you don't have vision, you don't have that TP advantage. So I do like that they put the pressure here. It did take the top though as well. It's just a little bit easier, I feel, to defend this this top area, even if the tower is gone. So I feel like it's a little bit more towards the side of paiN here right now, because Spectre wants to just farm. You know, this is a hero that just wants to find that space, needs to get stuff online, and you know, paiN are making it so it's very, very difficult for her to find that.
Well, credit to paiN too with the aggressive wards. Not only, you know, clearing out the lane and whether or not without vision if it's better for them or not, but with the wards especially, it definitely is. And you see down here, paiN with the sleep, Lolis just walks it off. He got the sleep off and allows him to buy the distance to get away from Leshrac and be fine. So Phantom Lancer will have to fall back too, but this goes back to that vision that I was just talking about. They see the rotations coming in and allows them to easily respond. A Spectre at least going to push out somewhat, but they'll notice the support's rotating away, and it looks like paiN is wrapping around now.
Yeah, they're hot on the heels. They actually go and they use the haunt here. Top lane looks like Boba trying to get himself out fast enough. He's not going to be able to, though. Just going to get burnt to a crisp. Coming out from that Phoenix.
That's almost unfortunate for paiN. Just awkward timing. They were going for the kill on a Spectre. He haunted to go for a kill to himself onto Underlord, as you just saw right there. So if that play doesn't happen from Serenity, then very likely Spectre could be dead. So it just happened to be a great timing for them on the other side of it, and works out very well. So Spectre finding himself at least involved in a kill right there. XCJ technically credit for the kill. But we'll TP back to the bottom and continue to push out that lane. Nothing queued up yet. Is sitting on 1,000 gold though, so I'm leaning towards that Radiance going to be coming out for Spectre.
Oh no, ZYD comes up the stairs immediately. The Fiend's Grip comes out. CCNC going to be able to throw out that Dragon Slave and the Light Striker, right? And they're going to get a kill.
Fiend's Grip pretty good for that.
Well, you know, it was like, you know, a horror movie, right? You saw him hanging out over on the low ground. Everyone else is sitting on the high, and you're like, oh, this is not going to go good for you. This is not going to go good.
Absolutely not. And speaking of it, I keep going back to this, that vision, that ward that was over in that area, spotting Leshrac even running over in the first place, and made it easy, really, for that kill to happen. So the vision game is most certainly on point so far, and considering paiN at least bottom lane.
Yeah, they don't have Haunt up and running. Moonlight Shadow will come through. Do they have any detection? I don't think they do, though. There's going to be the swoop coming through. We'll get that Sunray off CCNC, and for some trouble here, uses the Laguna. There's going to be the Yules coming out as well, trying to buy a little bit more time here, but she's burning down really, really quickly. They need a little bit more, and they'll take her out. And that's a big rotation, though, that came out as well from the side of Serenity.
You called it lack of vision. CCNC has to be pretty frustrated about that one, whether he himself not caring, but of course you'd almost expect Earthshaker, who, by the way, guess what? He goes back and buys dust. So he's like, I got it now, but yeah, just a little bit too late for that moment, so awkwardness ensuing, but still not the end of the world. Alina is on top of the net worth even after that death.
It's got to be frustrating, though, right?
Absolutely. You thought you had a free kill, and nope, Moonlight Shadow's pretty good.
Well, won't make that mistake again. As long as you learn something off of it, right?
Bulba, going with the Dominator pick up on Bulba. Of course, this is a great item for just pushing as a team. It does bring the aura effect. And so, like, I go back to that Hooded Defiance. It looks like he has that queued up next, though, actually. So, just like in the helm of the Dominator first, though, at least. So, is he in trouble, though?
It's feeling like this is going to be an issue here. They're going to jump forward. He's already trying to tit himself out, but there's too much there, Breaky. There's too much.
Just a little bit. Yeah, no cloak even just yet. So tanky, kinda, but especially against all that magic damage, he melts pretty quickly right now, as you see right there. And that's another use of the Dark Rift that doesn't actually get him out, and in a sense, kind of wasted there. And that's not a short cooldown ability, of course. We're looking at 130 seconds right now.
No, definitely. And like, it feels like, you know, Spectre's kind of gotten used to the idea that there's going to be people just living in her jungle because she's already rotated out. She's with a couple of these supports, and you're seeing that the Dire are kind of just taking over this jungle, trying to limit the amount of resources available to the Spectre. And then in the top lane, of course, you've got, you know, Neil, who's just trying to do a little bit of split pushing. Boba just repeatedly going back to this one lane, so not sure exactly. He just wants to push out the lanes,
yeah. I think that's what it is.
But the smoke over here coming out from paiN could be very lucrative for them, but it already looks like the Disco Pony moving himself away. Haunt does come out, though, here. Looking at the bottom lane, looks like Flea going to try to TP himself out. Do they have anything to stop him down? They have the arrow. Oh, there you go. There goes Flea.
Well, we're up to the top lane. Let's jump back to that, because Leshrac's not out of here just yet. The Pit of Malice caught him initially, but he is going to be able to TP away. I mean, that was really two different fights going on. Another case, though, of the Haunt coming into play at a very awkward time for paiN. That wasn't intended because of the gank coming in. It just simply worked out that way. And, you know, it's obviously unfortunate for paiN, but at the other side of it, I go back to Serenity. Hey, they'll take it, you know. They'll take that advantage, and sure enough, get the kill, as you mentioned, and we saw, and a slight net worth lead to go along with that, but Bulba going to keep the top pushing in, and with CCNC here, that should at least be the tier 1 tower kill.
Oh, this is an objective-based game, keep in mind. The other thing that they can start really doing, too, is they've got a little bit more of a skirmishy lineup. They could potentially go and start making, you know, some plays, knowing that the Haunt is, of course, down. Yeah. I think that's a big thing that they kind of have to play around.
That's a good point, yeah. And of course, at the same time, the Dark Rift is just coming off cooldown now, so they will have a window for that. Maybe you couldn't play a little bit more aggressive, knowing that they have that backup at least, but you know, with the Haunt still on cooldown for 100+ seconds. Now, with that in mind, Spectre has the Yasha queued up, sitting on almost 3,000 gold, though. So I still am not sold that it's going to be the Yasha into Manta just yet. I suppose Manta's not bad this game. Things like the Pit of Malice especially to help, but that Radiance, I almost am still expecting to see, despite what he has queued up there, and sitting on 3,000 gold after all.
Yeah, it does feel kind of odd that they're doing that, but you know, you've got options on the table. These Haunts have been very successful, so there's no reason to kind of not keep that in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
But
you see a smoke play from the Radiant squad around Roshan Pit, off to the side Flea was hiding in the trees, but there's that smoke, using the Moonlight Shadows in case as well, but not going to run into anyone from the looks of it, as Diffusal is finished on Ritsu. Playing the Phantom Lancer, we all know how important that item is to have on said hero. Mirana, she was building a Dragon Lance and going to go right into a Maelstrom next, meanwhile.
Yeah, it almost felt like Flea, like you saw the pings come out. I wasn't sure if Flea was thinking like, oh, maybe I'll get a little cheeky here. She's in a big creep wave. Maybe I'll try to go for that Echo Slam play. But did opt to back off, though, during all that. So what's the timing here? Like, what do you think with looking at Serenity and looking at paiN? Because I feel like we've talked about, you know, paiN is looking pretty strong. They've won their lanes. What's the next step here?
I mean, I think that pipe, and Underlord, in fact, does finish Hood of Defiance. The pipe is coming. Without the pipe, we saw how fast Underlord was melting, specifically Hood of Defiance even. But once he has this, now with the pipe coming, that's when I feel like paiN is going to look to try to make some plays. Because after that, we are going to see a Radiance. Again, it's not confirmed yet, but...
You're really hoping. You're banking on that Radiance.
3,800 gold with a Yasha queued up. I mean, he's not getting a full Manta right click, right? So
you went to the secret shop. Yep, there it is. There's the secret shop. Okay. All right, you're right, Break. You got this.
So, but the point being that there is a little bit of that window now. Okay, a little bit more time. Now, I don't know if they're going to get the pipe before that, unfortunately, for the sake of paiN. But still, that pipe, it continues to be kind of the key for me. A blink also on Earthshaker was just picked up, so that's potentially something too. CCNC. He's in trouble. Heals on up, though. He spotted them just in time, but the split Earth comes down and gets the kill. That was the Yules, by the way, from Leshrac. Thought that might have been CCNC's himself, but Leshrac sets that up.
Yeah, I don't think you can use your own Yules if there's a Lesh nearby, or vice versa with the Lina, right? Because either one, you're going to either get a Light Strike right to the face, or you're going to get that split Earth. For sure, but all smoked up over here, coming out from the side of paiN as they're making their way down to the bottom, maybe hoping to grab the Spectre, who again, you know, is working on that Radiance. And I love the, you know, this is a typical Flea, right? He just gets himself that Blink Dagger, he's ready to go. We haven't seen an Echo Slam just yet either, I don't think, have we?
I don't believe we have, and you're calling it. You were hyping it up, Moxie, so it is going to be some pressure on Flea for sure.
He is one patient boy over there.
That's the idea, at least, but their top tier 2 tower will be falling in the process bottom lane. There's that Echo coming out right on top of Spectre. Isn't enough damage up front. He does have a haunt to use, but the Fiend's blocking him down, and they finally will take out Spectre, but now they need to get out Boba. He activates, of course, the Dark Rift. The Supernova will stun them, but they're out of here, and they make the getaway. So they do lose Flea, but still a kill very worth it for the Dire team in paiN.
Yeah, the positioning was so good, right? Because you know that you don't have any vision on the Spectre, most likely going to be in the bottom lane, and they just kind of use that smoke, walk themselves around in the corner. They don't actually even have any wards up here. In fact, you're looking. See, they ping it out. They're like, maybe there's a ward up there? There isn't. Nope. They just had very good positioning. They knew, you know, she showed up in that creep wave. They had the Blink Dagger. They had the Echo Slam. It just was very well initiated.
Yeah, you look at the wards that they do have. A very interesting lane ward just beyond that bottom tier 2 tower. So it's still giving them some decent vision down there, but a lot less likely to be caught. As speaking of being caught, middle lane Mirana. Fissure on top of with that Sun Ray from behind, and the Haunt being used on top of that. paiN, a good decision. They're not going to overcommit.
That's a victory right there. Yeah, that's the actual, yeah, they're slowing them down. They've got them holed up in this Pit of Malice. Can they do anything more though? The Laguna comes out, not going to be quite enough damage, but the Light Striker right going to land over here on Ogre, and he's a tanky boy, but he's not tanky enough. Neil finding himself a haste string, going to be able to run himself away and just engage from the fight.
Yeah, I thought that was an illusion for a second, but it actually caught the real Spectre there with a sleep. And eventually, Flea jumped in with the Blink Dagger to finish the job. And obviously, Leshrac wasn't there either, so a lot of firepower being lost from Serenity in terms of engaging into a fight. Now, he's going to TP from the bottom lane before he gets caught. But you can't be doing that. I mean, not that they forced that fight, to be honest, obviously, but Serenity, they need to make sure Leshrac's around if they are going to be picking a fight. Because he is a big source of their damage right now.
He has a BKB that he just picked up too, so that's going to be a very big reveal for that item. Keep in mind though too, they do have a baiN, right? So baiN's going to be able to, you know, just use that Fiend's Grip, hold him in place, and just laugh at that BKB. But it's going to be very important that he sees him as the first target. The value of that Fiend's Grip when there's BKBs being picked up. Oh, Fissure, there's a BKB coming out here. It looks like Flea's in for some trouble. Nice Nightmare coming out. It's not going to be enough to save him though. We'll take him down.
That reaction, by the way, that was insane. I mean, that was a really good reaction from Leshrac to use the BKB when he did. I don't know if he must have spotted barely just vision of Earthshaker jumping in with the Blink Dagger, but man, that was some quick fingers right there. So it allows him to obviously get that off and easily get the turn on to play. But I mean, that's a BKB charge, so it's like it's not the end of the world for paiN in terms of just losing your Earthshaker.
Well, I mean, the other thing too is they didn't use an Echo Slam or anything like that either, so. Still have a lot of opportunities here on the table. Spectre did just pick up her Radiance now too, so that's going to become a big part of these fights because Lena's going to have a lot of difficulty And so is our friend Lilith here, right? But she's got her own BKB that just got picked up, Breaky. So we got the battle of the BKBs going on now.
Good for either side, and of course goes without saying, especially when you look at the net worth and who's on top, specifically the Leshrac on the Radiant side. But the smoke play here, I'm checking to make sure that they weren't seeing it. Doesn't look like they were. And right now, paiN hoping to find another kill opportunity. Haunt is up in 5 seconds, though. And Serenity is actually making a smoke play themselves elsewhere, but not the Spectre. He's up at top, and that's exactly what paiN wants. They're going to see the dagger kind of behind, but they're not going to get there in time.
So it just happened to work out where they went and they threw down that ward at the last second. They've got a sentry there, though, Breaky.
Okay.
They knew.
Yeah.
Good map awareness coming out from the Spectre.
Very smart. I go back to this PL, though. Top net worth in the game. Great news for paiN. The problem is, oh, actually, hold that thought, because over here we do have a fight breaking out. baiN going to put the sleep on himself, going for the turn on Ogre Magi. baiN basically accepting death at this point, says, just chase me, please. And they oblige. They do take him out. So he's the only death so far. Bulba doesn't have his Pitted Malice for 10 more seconds. Meanwhile, CCNC trying to make it out of this area. Nice block with the fissure, and despite the BKB from Leshrac, doesn't mean he can run through a wall. So very good block from Flea. And it does buy enough distance for at least Lena to escape.
What was nice too was, like, if you were watching the Ogre during that play, you were seeing him, like, he was running forward. He was trying to run in towards, like, the Pit of Malice kind of thing, just trying to, like, make some space so that way the team fight got split up a little bit, and I think that really kind of paid off for them in that sense, just getting a little bit of that diversion going on.
Yeah. But yeah, back to the Phantom Lancer. You're dealing with a Radiant Spectre. You're dealing with a core Leshrac. That's also very good fun. There's an Echo Slam jump in the Haunted Spectre. If they kill him, that's going to be big. The Fiend's going to lock him down the whole time, and they absolutely will. He's out for 50. And is this a Roshan?
It's looking like a Roshan.
Now, why not?
Why not? Why not treat yourself after that, right?
Nice.
Now there's no Echo Slam, right? But they just use that Echo Slam to take down this the Spectre, but I'm not sure they can actually get into this pit. Do see the Icarus dive coming through, but they're not going to be able to do that egg right into the Pikachu. Taking a lot of damage here from the Sunray. Will just walk themselves back just a little bit. Hasterin actually going to get picked up on CCNC. He'll go and pop this, but again, Spectre going to be up in about 18 seconds, so you really want to go back into that pit with the rest of the side of Serenity standing up on that high ground, looking down at you. I don't know.
Yeah, understandable that they choose to kind of back off for now, at least push out the lane, but of course they don't just want to give it up though either. It's already at half life, so they're going to go back in. It's a smart decision from paiN. However, Spectre's now up. Doesn't have Haunt though for 40 seconds, and I'm sure paiN, of course, are very aware of that. Not to expect, but it's still not a free one by any means. That's I kind of hear you, Moxie. You're still not sure about this one yourself. Now there's paiN going to run in with the Disco Pony, pops the BKB from Leshrac. He wants to kill himself. He takes the Aegis for himself. Does it as well as they get the kill on a Roshan. It's working out pretty well for Serenity. They take down on Phantom Lancer. They do lose the Leshrac, but of course coming back up with that Aegis as mentioned. Boba, the very late Dark Rift, may get him out in time, but nobody else. CCNC going for the turn on Mirana, but CCNC is the one that's in trouble himself. Spectral Dagger connects. Leap from Mirana maybe soon in 6 seconds. Another Spectral Dagger. Oh, just not enough damage though. A nice block from Flea actually with the Enchant Totem stun, and that will once again help keep alive. No, the Haunt though finishes the job, and now Flea in the base. The Pit of Malice ain't saving him either. The dive is real from Serenity, but boy is it working out.
Yeah, Neil playing with fire over there too as he dives right in, and we just see ZYD get some more kills doing that. Split off from the side, but that's another BKB charge that got used there too, so. Got him the effect that he needed, so.
I think it was worth it.
Yeah, I think it works out pretty well considering.
Pretty good use of that right there. And not often a hero can just pop a BKB and run into the midst of everyone, but that's how Leshrac works, right? I mean, that's what he's great with. He just activates that Pulse Nova, the Diabolic Edict, etc. And before you know it, you're melting away. So good decision to ultimately go in from Serenity, and they don't have the Aegis anymore, as you mentioned, but still, by all means, a victory on their part. And how a Bloodstone finished on Leshrac, by the way.
Pony's having a good time here.
And he is.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, all right. Taking a look at the team net worth. Serenity's looking pretty good now. You know, they've got that Radiance online on the Spectre. They're taking some really nice fights here. The Disco Pony really kind of taking off here. Leshrac just doing Leshrac things.
Yeah, they show there for a brief second, but you can just tell that steep rise in favor of Serenity. And that, again, that continued to be my worry. Not that that wasn't necessarily like the biggest factor in that last fight, but when your most farmed hero on your side being this Phantom Lancer is, in a sense, kind of countered by both the Leshrac and also the Radiant Spurns of Spectre, it's not necessarily as high value as you would hope for. Now, PL still, when it comes to late game, eventually will get the heart, I'm sure, on top of now actually a very late casual Hooded Defiance on Ritsu. Now, this is an item we see occasionally here like Phantom Lancer, especially now in this case against Leshrac, but again, it just happens to be a bit later on than maybe expected, but hey, we said it before, better late than never, right?
Right, absolutely.
How's that pipe looking, by the way? I assume he has it. Yeah, he's had the pipe for a while, and the mech on top of that. Okay.
Yeah, he used that in the last fight, I believe. I feel like they need some sort of pick off potential, possibly. Like if you can find maybe this Leshrac who's just kind of wandering around on his own or whatnot, I think that would open the door to make these a little bit easier. But I mean, they have great team fight. It's just a matter of executing it, right?
Absolutely. It is there, and it goes back to, I think, with the Earthshaker, as you're having it before. It's a matter if you can get that big Echo Slam off. They've been decent so far. Going to need a big one from him, but also will need overextensions. That goes back to Serenity and being out of position, say on that Leshrac, as you're referring to, but not necessarily out of position here. They're smoked up as a team. They have the haunt ready to go. No. Lelis runs into the trap. Maybe a good thing, though. He kind of baits it out. However, they catch Underlord, too, and he's also going to melt away. They're going to keep pursuing Moxie.
Oh, man, this is a gank train and a half. They got 3 kills out of all that. ZYD gets himself a double kill. Very nicely done by Serenity. Very value smoke, to say the least.
It really has been. And again, it's not that paiN has been making poor use of their smokes, but you even remember earlier in the game, it's just a couple of times that Haunt came into play at that awkward timing where they thought they had a chance. And then Serenity themselves, though, also smoking at the appropriate times and just getting the better ganks off, ultimately, against paiN. And now they're just going to push an objective, because that is king after all. Bots delivered to Leshrac in the meantime, but on top of that, remember, too, the Bloodstone now up to 17 charges from 14.
Yeah.
CCNC doing what he can, though, pushing out bottom, distracting, and we'll TP away.
Yeah, I like how they're trying to get up and get those silver edges online to try to deal with some of the stuff coming out. In fact, even the Phantom Lancer has one that's kind of queued up right now.
Oh, to deal with the Spectre, yeah.
Yeah, you need something, but that's going to delay his heart, too. At the end of the day. So I don't know, is it better just to have the Lina who's carrying it? Because she's also going to have to deal with, all the dispersion and whatnot. But do you see a smoke coming out here from the side of paiN? I think they've got their eyes over here on ZYD. It feels like his spidey sense is tingling though, right?
Yeah.
Just booking it out of there, see ya.
And this guy runs fast, as we know now. He's getting a little greedy in the meantime, so maybe not as fast as we thought, but he still gets out of there. So yeah, yet another smoke that just for whatever reason doesn't work.
Look at they're already TPing in. They feel like something's up. They haven't seen anybody sitting here in the lane. The bottom tower's getting hit by creeps. Oh, there's the light striker, right? Wow. They just take down PYW like it's nothing.
Yeah, she basically wasn't even there. Down dead for 50 more seconds. Does have a buyback if it comes to it, so we'll see if that comes into play or not. Just got her Moonlight Shadows back up as well off cooldown.
I mean, it gives a new phrase to the term, allies disappear from this Mirage.
Yeah, that's no longer there. 30 more seconds. They're just going to give it the tier 2. It's not worth, of course, committing a buyback and everything and defending, so no point to do that. And Roshan still has quite a bit of time before he's out. But good find from the Dire team, and obviously take advantage of their Blink Daggers and able to get in there as Leshrac runs right into Flea, or more so the opposite way. Now Flea trying to run the other direction. Blink in 1 second. He's just out of range of the Pulse Nova and everything else, so he will be able to blink away and at least survive. But Leshrac will soak up even more farm in the process.
And he's very lucky because this is a very, very fast Leshrac.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If he had been just a little bit off and he had gotten hit with that Pulse Nova, it would have been a huge problem because he would just get run down. He needed that blink, so.
Yeah, I was going to go back to, you mentioned that with the whole Silver Edge possibility and Ritsu being queued up earlier. And the idea of Lina getting, though, it seemed like that might have been overkill. And sure enough, he is going the heart now. Bulba, by the way, the Dark Rift, it should be enough. Multicast happening, but no, it's not nearly enough damage to drop him nor the Bane.
See you later.
Able to get out. But yeah, I like that option better. It just makes, he needed that survivability, right? You're dealing with a Leshrac especially. Not getting a heart means he would just be so damn squishy.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, too. You decide that you want to push some sort of objective or whatever. You just try to find yourself a pick-off first. And if you can find the Spectre, because generally she's going to be farming away from the rest of her team for the most part because they don't want to take, any of these fights unless the Haunt is up. It will allow them to kind of get that pick-off if they're able to use the Lina, use the smoke. You've got nice setup coming out from, of course, their Bane, and then the follow-up coming out from, the stuns with Flea over on the Earthshaker and Boba having that Pit of Malice. But you have that Moonlight Shadow coming through now.
Trying to find the
jump
a lot of
people
in the middle.
here.
They catch somebody. The Eels throw up onto the Underlord off to the side. Marana's diving in, finishes off paiN. Now CCNC, she's just hiding here with a Shadow Blade. Her teammates falling around. You got paiN buying back, but Underlord, he's going to be lost. And he's dead for 50 seconds. No buyback. Supernova activated in the back lines, asleep up onto Leshrac, but that's only going to delay the inevitable. paiN eventually goes down. Now they turn back attention over here. BKB from CCNC, but he was overcommitted big time, and he just melts away. They do pick up Spectre, so that's what CCNC was doing right there. At least he gets a kill out of it, but we're not even done just yet.
No, it's still going. We're still chasing. This is some Benny Hill music right now. ZYD just swiftly running himself out here. Has that bloodlust on him as well. And it looks like they are still giving a little bit of chase here over onto this Ogre. The Fissure comes in. They've got a lot of... Oh, the dunk comes out. They landed over these two heroes. They'll be able to take one down. They're going to get taken down. The ZYD, he is just a murderous My Little Pony. They still have their eyes on Ritsu. Ritsu trying to run himself out. He's going to try to topple. Turns back around. Oh, look at that. They try to use... The ankle's broken, my friend. Ritsu's still alive. He is making his way downtown to get out of here as fast as possible, and he's actually going to survive, Breaky.
Very good juke at the end there by Ritsu for sure, but as pretty as that dunk looked initially, the Echo Slam from Fleet, it really wasn't. He basically solo dunked to Leshrac, and Leshrac kind of just stood his ground like, wait, what? Okay, I'm just going to turn on you now. So it's unfortunate for paiNX in that sense, but again, picking up Spectre, you thought there might have been something there as that fight continued on. But I go back to, it seems like Leshrac continues to be this ultimate figure for Serenity and the reason for the success. And those Bloodstone charges adding up even more as a result. Remember, 21 now. He's looking at, and let's not forget about Marana, as you're seeing on your screen right there too. Look at the farm that she has. She almost has a full Mjolnir finished on top of that Dragonlance in the BKB, which is currently at 9 seconds. Still to go.
Yeah, you got to take a look at the Leshrac's BKB now as well, too. You know, he's got all these Bloodstone charges, but it's dwindling, and that's pretty scary when you think about it, right? Do you have a smoke, though, coming out from paiNX? They're about to walk into a lot of friends. A little smoke-on-smoke action, if you will. Ritsu might be in for some trouble here. Turns around. That's look at that pit of mouth, followed up by the Fissure. There's going to be the Haunt coming out as well, and it looks like Ritsu trying to run himself away. They got the BKB over on CCNC, and Niels, they run out. Bulb is just getting shredded to pieces, though. He's going to be taken down. Love is going to get taken down, too. Ritsu in a little bit of trouble here, hides out into the pit. He's going to try to find his opening so that he can get away and doppel, but he's got a friend waiting on the other side. He's actually stuck in the pit. He's so in trouble. Ritsu now. BYW gets himself a double kill.
Yeah, and that'll be a nice transition into Roshan here for Serenity. You know, Bulba, it felt like he had a little bit of a window there to maybe activate the Dark Rift to try to make for an escape for the team. I don't know if that was a call of like, no, let's commit to fight this thing when they could, or what, but he chose not to in the end. You know, didn't waste a cooldown in that sense, but he dies, you know, it kind of falls apart from there. And then on top of that, they do finish off Roshan, as we see. And that's now an Aegis they give to ZZZ playing the Spectre. That's also another kind of curious. You could argue maybe giving it to Leshrac, but you know, this Leshrac, he's not dying anytime soon, it feels like at this point. So they're going to give it to Spectre instead, who also now has a Basher coming along at least. Not just yet, but he is just about there to be finished. So it's going to continue to be an uphill battle now for paiNX. This Phantom Lancer, sure, his farm's decent, but even now with the Heart, it's still a difficult task for him to make plays. Bottom lane, Flea, he's fouled by Leshrac. That should be an easy kill. Godlike streak, somebody killed him. Yeah, I agree with the announcer there. That's what paiNX needs to do.
Yeah, they got to find a way to like get the jump on this Leshrac. You know, CCNC standing nearby here, starting to get some of those stacks of fire up. Needs to be careful. There's a lot of friends standing nearby. In fact, does realize that, you know, not seeing people on the board, has completed an MKB now. Actually didn't opt to go for a full Silver Edge at all. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think the logic is simply Spectre is not even the issue, right? It's the Leshrac. So the Silver Edge wouldn't necessarily help against that. The whole point would be the break effect. I still could see the Silver Edge coming out maybe next now even, or it doesn't even look like that's the case. But yeah, Leshrac's the issue. So an MKB on paper will ideally help better in that case, but middle lane PL, he is caught, and this is dangerous right now. Lockdown lasting forever. Finally gets the doppelganger off, but it's just not going to matter. Taken away to PL. He's dead for 85 seconds. The BKB activated from CCNC, but that's simply to run away, and Serenity's going cutthroat. They're going for the finish right now, it feels like, at this point, Moxie.
Yeah, I mean, they're pushing them really far back here. There's going to be Eels coming out over onto the Ogre. They're going to try to keep them alive with that Sun Ray, but there's too much damage coming out from CCNC. They'll punish that Ogre for going a little bit too deep into their base here.
I guess having the creep wave with them prevented them from really getting an objective, too.
Just a little.
Just a tad, the backdoor kicking in, so that's the good news for paiNX, but they're still without Ritsu for 50 seconds.
I mean, sometimes you just get so excited, right? You get that bloodlust going.
Yeah. Not the case there, though. So not maybe as much of a trying to finish it from Serenity as hyped up initially. But Mirana, middle lane, he's dead.
I don't think the dunk was needed there. I think the pinks come out.
With those leaps, it's like, I guess you never really know, to be fair. But yeah, just absolutely wanted to make sure on that one. Spectre saying hello to paiN. Not really the nice way. Lelis will go down for the easy kill in the hands of paiN. But man, I keep glancing back over that net worth there. Look at that, Leshrac, 25,000. And then you have Phantom Lancer at 18K next in line.
Yeah, he's swag. He's got 26 Bloodstone charges. He's got an Octarine core, boots of travel, BKB down to 5 seconds, and a Yules and a Shiva's. Like, this guy is loaded. But,
Octarine core now, by the way, too.
Yeah, like I said. Guy's got the swag going on.
Yeah. Spectre, Basher's finished. Abyssal Blade, naturally, going to be next in line. So, I said earlier, you know, Spectre's not the issue, but guess what? He's going to become more of the issue even as this game gets longer. That's just a really scary thing for paiN. So, you always want to, you know, stay positive and never call the game too soon by any means. But, man, they are in a spot where they're going to need those overextensions. They're going to need the mistakes out of Serenity. That's just, when you're down 17,000 net worth with the game the way it's looking here, you just kind of need that from the other team. Now, Serenity, I got to say, with the way they've been playing, they're looking fairly clean. They really are. They're playing together as a team. Their movement seems on point. And so that's going to be a tough ask.
Well, hats off to ZYD here, because this guy, clearly the MVP of this match, he's just done so well. And I was very concerned during the draft because it looked like, you know, this Underlord was causing too many problems for Spectre. But the Leshrac, you know, really, it looks like they found themselves a friend over here. BKB actually getting activated by CCNC. He's actually going to go back and coast for that Laguna, but there's going to be a haunt coming out as well over here. And they're going to run deep into the base. Can they get Flea? It looks like they're just barely not going to be able to get it. But arrow comes through. Oh, the arrow actually lands on CCNC. What are the chances on that?
Magnet, man. Luckily, he was a little too deep. So.
Pure skill.
Yeah, right there, right after that magnet arrow coming into play. But no, again, it's just a little bit too deep, so we'll be fine. But, you know, fine's a relative term, I suppose. You have an Aegis on Spectre. I'm guessing the cheese on Leshrac, or did they eat the cheese? No, it's actually on Mirana. So they gave the cheese to. Either way, they're going to push middle now. They're going to go for their first set of racks right here. That's something they haven't gotten yet. So, again, still the hope for paiN. The dunk, a.k.a. Echo Slam, is ready to go for Flea. He's just waiting for the angle. The spread is there, though. From Serenity. They're not given the easy opening, that's for sure.
Oh, Bulba. That arrow to the face.
Oh, jeez. Another magnet. Yeah, Spectre, he gets the tower. Serenity's not going to overdo it, though. You can respect that. Again, I don't think they're in a rush either with the way this game's going. So let's get more objectives, they say. Let's kill shrines. They go for the bottom one. Probably going to go for the top. The Aegis was just reclaimed there, too.
Yeah, Serenity's sitting real pretty right now, sitting about a 20K net worth lead and like a 20,000 difference in experience there. So they must be feeling really nice. You know, they do have that Spectre who, despite, you know, Lyrical mentioned this, it got a lot of nerfs, but still a strong hero if you can get it here.
paiN wants something. That was almost a chance. The arrow comes out, though, and Bane's going to be the one caught. Blink away from Flea. This is panic mode now for paiN. Again, another case. They just seem like they're getting so close to a possible gank, and it completely backfires. CCNC, he's just running too. He just wants to get the hell out of here. Ritsu, the same story, but the Doppelganger's not going to be coming off in time. It feels like the stun lockdown's too much, and he too will go down. Bulba activates that Dark Ridge. Very late. Is going to get him away at least, but they lose to already, including that PL yet again with no buyback. More push to happen from Serenity.
Oh boy. This game's getting harder and harder for paiN, especially when they're doing these really just, like you said, clean team fights.
They look good. I said going into this game, I haven't really been sold yet on this team, even despite their TI.
Are they making you a believer?
It's a best of one. I'm not going to overreact again, but they do look very clean here. You obviously got to give them that respect. And they've made it a tough challenge for paiN to even almost compete in this game, it feels like, in a lot of ways. Their timings are just so on point. The middle racks goes down. This, I gotta say, Moxie, this might be the beginning of the end here.
Well, it's awesome because they did such a great job with, winning their lanes, but oh no, looks like the jump over here onto Selena, into the arrow. Bulba now trying to run himself out. There's going to be the Nightmare being thrown out, and they'll take down Lelis on the background. They'll be able to take down Bulba too. No buyback on any of these guys. There's the GG call. All right, Team Serenity taking this BO1.
That they do, and on the other side of it, paiN, we said going into this, they were 0-1 coming in, losing to Alliance the game before. Now they're 0-2. Again, this format, it's brutal in the sense of It doesn't give you a lot of leeway.
No, it's all on the line, it feels like, which makes these games so much more hype, right?
Exactly. Now, there is that bounty system still to keep in mind as well. So if anything, now I don't know the math off the top of my head. They're 0-2 though. You only play 3 games, so they only got 1 more, of course. Point is, we'll see if that's even still a possibility, which I believe at this point it still is, but they're going to obviously need a win, to say the least, moving forward. But Serenity, how about them, though? Let's give the positive there. They like I said, they kind of proved me in a lot of ways wrong going into this game at least, and I'll see if they can keep it up. Yeah, really impressed with the way that they, kept it going, made the space, and we're going to go back to our desk right now and see what the boys think.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that, Mugsy. Of course, that's what everyone's playing for, those bling bling chains. So we were going to do something a bit different with that. You can tell me what you think about that off camera. But there you have it. So Team Serenity, we felt they were the clear favorites for this one, and looked very good, very, very solid. The draft worked out for them.
Yeah, I think there's probably going to be a lot of disappointment for paiN because I think they felt pretty good about going away from that draft and saying, their game rides on a Spectre. We have an Underlord lineup to put pressure on it in the laning phase. We have a lineup that takes towers. We're going to be able to take a lot of map control early. We're going to make sure the Spectre doesn't get that fast Radiance, and our Phantom Lancer is going to be just 1, maybe even 2 items ahead of the Spectre the entire time. But that's not what happened at all. A 21-minute Radiance, once you get to that point, then it's Serenity who are feeling great about the game because they know the Phantom Lancer is just not a threat. Once you have the Radiance and then on top of all this AoE damage and your Phantom Lancer is still so far away from getting your significant tank items that I think that they're going to be disappointed because I think they should have been maybe a more competitive game for them. I think the Serenity did very good job in the team fight aspect and being able to play basically with the Moonlight Shadow and always be hunting for these kills that gave them the space for the Spectre to get this far.
Would you agree with that assessment?
I would, definitely. And one of the key points was about 11 minutes into the game. You saw like a big rotation trying to find themselves a kill on that Spectre. And right as they were about to go in with the Bane's level 6 and find the kill, the Haunt comes out and reveals it. And they find a kill on the other side of the map. And that's just like a punch in the gut because that is the timing that you want to hit. And then it doesn't come out and then everything else starts to snowball a little bit from there.
Yeah, so is your assessment that paiN were a little bit unlucky in that game rather than outclassed? A bit of both?
No, I think they were outclassed when it comes to the movement, I think. There was, I really strongly feel that Serenity was getting too many kills out of this game. I think they were getting too many pickoffs. Basically the way this game should go is they shut down the Spectre when it comes to the laning phase. The Underlord needs to have a good game. He gets his pipe timing, then all of a sudden all of the damage that comes out from Serenity. If you don't have that Radiance on Spectre and you don't have, you can't rely on a bunch of this AoE magic damage so much because of the pipe, you're going to feel really good about just continuing to press your advantage. I mean, they were, the net worth was even.
Right.
It was at a point where Serenity was winning the game and they still had pretty much no towers on the map.